Made in Hollywood.
The horror thriller Longlegs, starring Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage, is made in Hollywood.
Lee is very different from me, from who I am, and I thought that would be a very interesting challenge, sort of removing myself completely from this role.
Made in Hollywood.
Also on today's show, Megan Good fights for her future in Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black.
Divorce in the Black is a suspenseful thriller. You're in for a ride, you know, from the beginning, from the opening scene all the way to the end. There's some twists and turns and different plots, and you're gonna really love it.
Plus, we look at the musical adventure Descendants, The Rise of Red. We talk with Kelsey Grammer about the war thriller Murder Company, and the romantic drama Dandelion features Kiki Lane and Thomas Doherty. This week on Made in Hollywood.
Made in Hollywood.
An FBI agent in pursuit of a serial killer races to decipher a series of occult clues as Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage star in the horror thriller Longlegs.
Is it scary being a lady FBI agent?
Yeah. Take a nice long look. The letter was left with the bodies. Signed with one word.
My first reaction was, I want to be a part of this. You know, it was Oz Perkins. We had talked first. I read the script, and we talked. I just loved where his head was, where he was going with it. Oz, who directed it, also wrote it, of course.
When I first read this script, every bone in my body said yes.
I saw a beast rise up out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns.
Lee is very different from me, from who I am, and I thought that would be a very interesting challenge, sort of removing myself completely from this role.
What aren't you telling me?
He'll kill and kill again.
I began with sort of going back to her childhood. She obviously went through some very severe trauma. You know, that's what makes her who she is and how she goes through the world.
I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark. Because you are the dark.
The central idea is that parents tell lies and stories to their children, that parents are sort of in charge of the perception of a child, and what a delicate responsibility that is. And that was what the movie was about for me.
You could have made nice with me.
The movie itself and the characters within the movie are people in the world we think we've seen before. Even the movie itself, we think it's familiar, we think we've seen it before, and it turns out not to be the case.
Using Silence of the Lambs as sort of just this recognizable touchstone. It's like this, it's like a woman detective, and it's like she's out of her element, and it's like there's a killer that they can't find, and you know.
But you didn't. And that has led to all.
Connecting with Oz on our first Zoom meeting, I prayed even harder after that call that it had been as deep a connection on his end as it was on mine.
I was just intrigued to see how we're gonna pull this story together.
The idea was to really sort of tenderize the audience's consciousness and awareness and readiness for a thing that they thought it was going to be, and then of course it's not that.
Now available on your home screen. After her dead-end marriage begins to crumble, a young professional must fight for the life she really wants in Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black, starring Megan Good.
Wow, thank you for inviting us. We actually used to come here all the time, right, Thomas?
You don't hear her talking to you.
You better get your wife, man.
Ain't nobody gotta get me.
That's just order. I just want to have a nice night.
I don't know how you do it, Ava.
I see she tells you everything, huh? Alice, you know what? I can't do this.
And what y'all looking at?
Divorce in the Black is a suspenseful thriller. you're in for a ride, you know, from the beginning, from the opening scene all the way to the end. There's some twists and turns and different plots, and you're gonna really love it. Some incredible performances by Megan Good.
By Mr. Hardwick.
The whole cast, and Mr. Tyler Perry gave us the freedom to, you know, be great, and that's what we did. So I'm looking forward to people seeing it.
You have taught me since I was a little girl to be a good wife.
You think you can... Stop! That boy put his hands on me!
But what happens when that's not enough? I think there definitely was chemistry because you need to know why they were together in the first place, and you need to know why they've held on to each other for so long, even amidst the dysfunction, you know? And for us, we've known each other for almost over 20 years. The friendship was there, the chemistry was there, and then being able to explore it on set, you want to feel for this couple, you know, and you don't just just want Dallas to be a bad guy. You want to understand where he's coming from, even if the choices and things that he's doing are unacceptable. You want to feel the heart of each of it, and you want to be sad when they break up, you know, and you, even if you understand it, even if you're like, yeah, that got to happen, it's a lot deeper than just the first level. And so I think that we really tried to explore that truth and show, you know, why did they hold on to each other for so long.
Aren't you glad to see me?
Oh yeah, I understand why he gotten to this point of being Dallas in his adult years. It's because of his childhood, you know, family trauma, not dealing with it and not having the tools to go on in his life to treat people kind or, you know, have great loving relationships, even though Ava was there for him and really, really loved him and gave him so many chances until that was enough. But Dallas had to work that out for himself. You know, because if he doesn't work it out himself, you're never going to be able to treat nobody kind or good or be in any relationship of that matter. So yeah, I would say, yeah, Dallas was a flawed human being, and I wanted to show that to the highest level and do service to the character.
Stop! Careful pushing a good woman too far.
Coming up, we go on a musical adventure with the cast of Descendants, The Rise of Red. To find out where to watch any movie, check out MoviePhone.com. Find it, watch it.
She is kind of torn between those two worlds of doing what her mom expects of her and kind of following in her mom's footsteps, but then she kind of has that moment of realization where she's like, wait, but do I really want this?
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.
Now available on your home screen. With the fate of the enchanted Kingdom of Oregon on the line, two unlikely allies join forces to thwart a coup in the musical adventure Descendants, The Rise of Red.
What's my name? What's my name? Say it louder. What's my name? What's my name?
My first order of business will be making sure all the kingdoms are welcome, even Wonderland. No. This is for Princess Red.
She is kind of torn between those two worlds of doing what her mom expects of her and kind of following in her mom's footsteps, but then she kind of has that moment of realization where she's like, wait, but do I really want this? Chloe is one of the reasons that she softens up and that she kind of, yeah, becomes sweeter.
You said that Oregon is the worst.
With my daughter there, it might not always be.
Wait, really? Put on something respectable for once.
It was a lot of fun being able to walk that moral right and wrong code with Chloe. I think she's a very set in stone with her mindset person, and she'll fight for whatever she believes in. Imagine like everything in your world that you believed in gets crumbled down by your mother who told you everything in the first place.
Oh my
like that's such a crazy concept.
It's your Royal Highness now.
You must be Princess Red. I've always wondered what it's like over there.
You should come sometime. I'll introduce you to the Jabberwocky.
What's a Jabberwocky? A monster that eats annoying girls.
I think this did change my perspective on Cinderella because, in my opinion, up until now, we've always known her as this, like, kind person through and through. Honestly, kind of similar to Bridget in a way, maybe in a less, like, like a bubbly way, but similar in like the way of just like, no matter what, she's kind, and she doesn't necessarily always speak those like little sassy thoughts, versus this Ella did.
Well, acting like you've never seen a coup before.
This is crazy.
Someday, you'll thank me. I will never kneel to a tyrant.
Off with her head.
I definitely took very big inspiration from Ursula because that was one of my favorite Disney villains. I want to try to be more evil because I'm always having that concept of like the little sister always wants to be better than her older sister. And so I'm like, I gotta be meaner.
Yeah, and it worked.
What's my name? What's my name?
I should warn you, when you alter the fabric of time, there can be consequences.
I think that every like song scratches a different itch, and one of my favorite songs from when we did the table read was Red. And I was so excited that it came out because I was like, oh, they're gonna eat it up, and they did.
I think Life is Sweeter is so special. There's something so magical about that number. I mean, all of the cast is in it, so it's one of the rare times where you see all the characters in this magical number introducing characters that we already know and love.
Yes.
Aladdin, Jasmine.
I'll twin Kylie and Malia. I think Life is Sweeter, but I think just for the reason that it introduces everybody else at Merlin Academy. You know what I mean? It's such a big, fun dance number, and we all had so much fun learning it.
Sorry. What's my name? What's my name?
To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviephone.com. Find it, watch it. Up next, Kelsey Grammer stars in the World War II thriller Murder Company, and the romantic drama Dandelion features Kiki Lane and Thomas Doherty.
When I started to do a lot of Shakespeare and stuff, I would go into the first fitting and sort of see what I was going to look like. And I thought, oh, well, there he is. There's the character. So.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.
During the invasion of Normandy, a group of U.S. soldiers embark on a covert mission behind enemy lines in the World War II thriller Murder Company featuring Kelsey Grammer.
2nd Battalion. Your drop zone was north of Anfield. I'm afraid you boys won't be getting back to your units anytime soon.
Joining any company usually means being invited. So they invited me, and then I went through it and gave it sort of a cursory review at first, and then I thought, well, this seems kind of interesting. So I went back to it and made the call to my guy and said, what the hell? Let's set this up. My granddad was a World War II vet. He never cursed in his life, so there were a lot of four-letter words in the original script, and I thought, well, my guy's not going to say that stuff, even though he may have an objection to what he's being asked to do. Doesn't express himself that way. It's a different generation.
I might have something for you. This Ramsey. He is the highest-ranking SS officer currently in the field. We know about him because of Monsieur Decan over there and his friends in the Maquis.
I know that this is historically, at least inspired by actual facts on the ground. I have a friend whose grandfather was actually part of one of these platoons. Pretty dramatic stuff, and I think some of this is lifted from those kind of stories.
This is why we came, gentlemen. Let's get this done.
First time you do a costume drama, pretty much your costume tells you who the character is. So I learned in time. When I started to do a lot of Shakespeare and stuff, I would go into the first fitting and sort of see what I was going to look like. And I thought, oh, well, there he is. There's the character. So there is a lot to it.
I'm not giving up on them yet. They haven't given up on us.
No one generation is immune from bad acting. but thank God, within every generation, there are some good ones. And it's an art form. An art form is rarely something everybody can do. So when you get lucky enough to jump into somebody who is good at it, it's a real, genuine experience and a joy. And these guys were pretty good.
After kindling a relationship with a disillusioned guitarist, a struggling singer-songwriter embarks on a journey to find her voice in the romantic drama Dandelion.
We have a new songwriter for you tonight.
Down in the muddy Ohio.
Hey, what's her name, by the way?
Dandelion.
No.
Well, it's the name I'm giving you.
Nicole had already poured
so much of herself into the script from her own experience of being an artist, you know, fighting to be seen and heard in ways that felt more authentic to her. And so I think if I could pour that much of myself and my real life experience into the music, because that's so central to the character and to the film, then everything else became a lot more grounded in deeper truths within myself.
To me, the camera is telling the story. It's not all in the screenplay, it's in the visual direction of the film, and whatever I can tell visually, that's how I'm going to tell it. As an actor, it's knowing Nicole's gonna stick the camera like 1 inch from your face. But just trust. It's going to make sense.
I don't know, I wasn't really conscious of there being a camera, and yeah, it just felt very raw. He would do something or sing something a different way, maybe, and that would change me and my react. You know what I mean? It didn't really feel too planned.
What you said was it had gone through.
Yes, there was the singing and, you know, in her audition. And yes, there was our meeting we had and just who she was felt like Dandelion. And yes, there was her knowing Cincinnati inside out. And but the number one thing actually, and what I kind of look for in any actor and what she had was Dandelion had to be played by someone who really felt overlooked and felt sidelined.
I think this film really taps into some of the inner workings, you know, of what an artist goes through and the things that we think about and what keeps us up at night. And I think that's what I hope that really resonates with any member of the audience who has a dream, which I would hope would be all of them.
It's called playing music, so it should feel like play.
Hello and welcome to Movie Phone.
Movie Phone? So exciting!
Can I get hired? I want to be Movie Phone guy.
Welcome to Movie Phone.
If you have any medical issues, just call Movie Phone.
Thanks for joining us for Movie Phone, unscripted, where we answer your questions.
Who is the most fun person to fake punch? Like, generally in life, like,
I would assume in the movies.
Movie Phone TV is your ticket to all that's new at the movies.
Stay tuned, there's more coming up on Made in Hollywood.
Made in Hollywood.
Thanks for watching Made in Hollywood, powered by Movie Phone. For more behind-the-screen content, check out MoviePhone.com.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood. Made in